Park Board, the Minneapolis Park Police, for bringing back the fireworks show. The Red, White, and Boom event returned last night, and it was a great success. Thousands and thousands of people were able to enjoy the fireworks. Additionally, there was no one seriously injured last night. Unlike previous years, there was no one that was a victim of a shooting anywhere in the city. So those things are the good news. The bad news is that, once again, we had groups of teenagers and young adults back at it, attacking police and other persons and property by throwing fireworks at them. Starting Wednesday night, the Minneapolis Police Department began monitoring social media and found invitations on social media platforms advertising these gatherings. Those invitations function similarly to what other cities have seen in recent years with what they call pop-up events, telling people something's going to happen and then eventually listing the location for groups of people to then show up. They encourage people to come to Minneapolis and commit these egregious, dangerous, and just frankly, stupid acts. I don't think I have to tell you, but throwing fireworks at people, throwing fireworks at cars with people in them is extremely dangerous. And the people and the police officers are targeted could have received very serious injuries. 2 years ago, we had some examples of that. We had a person who was permanently scarred by injuries caused by these fireworks that had been thrown at them. Last year, a young man not far from where we're standing right now was very seriously injured when a firework exploded, injuring him in his abdomen. While no one was injured this year, we certainly came close. I was out on the street myself with our officers all night last night. And I was with a group of cops when a mortar was thrown at us, very close to where other pedestrians were, and while cars were driving by with their windows open. When it exploded, it shook my body. It was literally louder than when a shotgun goes off very close to you. That's the power of these things. If that thing had gotten into a car, if it gotten too close to one of the pedestrians out there, it could have taken a limb off, if not kill a person. It's ridiculous that our residents and other people visiting our town have to deal with this egregious behavior. That's why the law enforcement response this year was different. Minneapolis police had over 200 additional officers working, and we had a very robust plan in place with all of our law enforcement partners to deal with this criminal behavior. I'm happy to say that thankfully no one was seriously injured by last night's attacks. I'm very thankful to the Minnesota State Patrol, who had at least 50 troopers out here with us, to Ramsey County Sheriff Bob Fletcher and deputies who came over to assist us, as well as to Chief Ohato, the Minneapolis Park Police, who were out here for the night, and dozens of officers from the University of Minnesota Police as well. Through a coordinated effort this year, there were dozens of arrests and citations made, dozens of illegal fireworks that were seized, and illegal firework activity that was recovered. Most of these incidents this year did occur on the east side of the river, predominantly in the Dinkytown area. That's different from last year. We had a very difficult time chasing large groups of individuals all around the city. At this point, what I can tell you for sure is that we have made 30 arrests and issued 5 citations. Of those, 27 were adults and 8 were juveniles. That number is likely to increase because there were a number of different agencies involved in this operation, and the majority of the reports are still not completed. Those arrested ranged in age from 15 to 23. We can get you an exact breakdown by gender and age if you want it. But again, like last year, 28 of these individuals were from outside the city of Minneapolis. 5 of them are not even from Minnesota. They came from Kansas, Massachusetts, and 2 from Maine. These investigations will continue, and when we are able, we will identify and charge as many people as possible who were not arrested last night. If we're asking the public if they have any specific information that may help us in advancing these investigations, please call Crime Stoppers or contact the MPD or email our tip line. I do anticipate that we will have some public video to release at some point today. We're just going through that and trying to decipher what we can show the public that won't disrupt ongoing investigations, but just to give folks a better sense of the seriousness of the problem that was happening. And that being said, I'll open it up for any questions people have.
What time did the first call come in, and then how long did it go?
Yeah, it's difficult to decipher these things out because Minneapolis is just like every town in America. People shoot off fireworks on the 4th of July. That's not unusual. I would say, just like in previous years, the problem with shooting fireworks at people, at property, that started around midnight, just like it has in previous years.
And then what time were you wrapped up with making all arrests?
The additional, last arrests from the additional officers that were going on probably happened close to 3 in the morning. However, the jail was backed up. I know our officers were dealing with, I believe, a 5-hour wait in the jail. So that just goes to show you. Obviously, we had 35. There's also going to be arrests made by patrol that are not included in this. That's why it's just going to take some time to go through and rectify all the numbers.
Chief, misdemeanor or felony charges? What kind of charges are you looking at?
Majority of the charges are for riot. So there's some places where we were trying to get people to just leave. They kept refusing, kept setting up. And then essentially we conducted and videoed individuals engaging in this activity, and then with the help of the state patrol, came in and arrested everyone that was a part of it.
And that's felony, right?
Yes, that's right. Additionally, there'll be charges for assault for individuals that we know specifically through mortars and rockets at people.
So these were folks not just shooting off fireworks, they were targeting
Correct.
people
Yes.
and
Yes.
refusing to leave, that sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah, that's the problem that we deal with. We understand it's the 4th of July. Some people are going to shoot off fireworks. We're most concerned about this really, really dangerous and just stupid behavior of shooting them at random people. I mean, I've seen in some of the traffic that was out there last night, groups would come and just shoot fireworks off, and they're exploding like underneath people's cars. People are driving down with their windows open in convertibles. It's extremely dangerous.
Chief, there was a Somali youth violence interrupter group out last night. Did that make any difference at all?
Sure. There were, I know there were ambassadors from the park board. The park board had people here. We had different community-based groups, both in Dinkytown, and I know one of the groups from Cedar Riverside was down by Lake Bidemakoska, thank you. And I know that is very helpful. Any bit of help we can get from community, especially those who know some of these individuals or might know their family members, might know a clergy person they know, that's very helpful to try and prevent a lot of this activity. When you see these groups of people, the vast majority of them are not actually involved in shooting the fireworks at people, but they're part of the problem because they're showing up in response to the social media and they're providing an audience for this stuff to continue.
Did the closure of the parkways around the lakes help?
Yeah, that was Chief Ohado. That was brilliant. It definitely made a difference. It made a difference on Wednesday night. Around 8:30, we got information that, again, that was stuff out on social media to meet up on Wednesday night. We were able to get in front of that, disrupt groups that had started to form down by the lake and at other places. And those closures around the lake are going to continue through the weekend.
So to address where everyone is from, I mean, does that just mean that their driver's license says they're from Boston or from Maine? You don't have information that they're literally flying in to do stuff like
No, but we did, there's certainly, and I'm sure residents could tell you too, there's certainly noticeably vehicles driving around with out-of-state plates too, which seemed, more unusual. But I don't know specifically people here, maybe they're here for the holidays. People do travel for the holiday weekend and so on. But it is definitely, like last year, a majority of people involved in this stuff that are not from our city.
What does that say to you? I'm trying to kind of understand the context of it.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially when it just feels like there's so many people that attack Minneapolis or kind of want Minneapolis to fail or sort of label all of our residents in a certain way. It's just a fact that the majority of the people that we are coming into contact with that are causing these problems are not residents of the city.
Do you think they came here specifically?
I don't know. I don't know, it's groups of young people, again, everybody that we were in contact with, teenagers, 15 to 23, I don't know.
To clarify, all the arrests, were they all made on Thursday night, or were there some made Wednesday as
These
well?
arrests that I'm talking about were Thursday night. On Wednesday night we were out here, we seized fireworks, towed some vehicles. I'm not certain of arrests on Wednesday night, though. Yeah.
So this was primarily Dinkytown. Where
Yes.
Where else were arrests made?
So we had something late at night down by Lake Nokomis. That was around 3 in the morning. There were 2 arrests down there. And that's all the information I have that's outside of the Dinkytown area, southeast.
So you
there.
kind of alluded to it. You had a pattern of looked like deploying police in a riot formation to move people back. How dangerous and problematic is that? What were they facing?
Yes, thank you for raising that. I really have to say, I'm extremely thankful to the Minneapolis police officers, the state troopers that were out here, all the cops that were out here, for 12 plus hours away from their family, again on the holiday, in just very dangerous conditions. It was a lot of folks out here, and it's very difficult to try and identify in a group, who's causing the problem, who's the one that's shooting the fireworks at people when you're in such a large crowd. Several times, like the time I mentioned, troopers and Minneapolis officers are trying to move an entire group where fireworks are being shot at people, and then you have someone come up from behind and throw a mortar at the police. So very dangerous, and it takes time. If people aren't just going to leave and they're going to keep moving from spot to spot, it takes time to develop a plan to get enough police in place to then safely have the evidence that you need to arrest specific individuals and move in without them being able to flee and just continue to cause the problem elsewhere.
Did your folks sustain any injuries or really close calls?
Definitely close calls, yes. I mean, there was a mortar that went off just a couple feet from us. Again, and I'm sure, I know there were others that were reported on the south side of town. I know there's at least one instance where fireworks were shot at a police car. But yeah, I mean, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to the kids that are involved in this, the kids that are coming to watch this stuff, to our residents, to, people driving by. It's dangerous to everybody.
Same kind of police presence. Can we expect that with Taste of Minnesota coming up this weekend?
We're definitely going to have stepped up enforcement and patrols all through the weekend. We've been very successful. For example, last weekend, we had between the Olympics, we had Pride going on, we had Somali Independence Week, lots of events happening, and thank God everybody's safe. And we're going to continue that posture through the weekend.
Were these kids targeting police officers primarily, or civilians, or a mix?
A mix, definitely targeting people, cars, and then at times, it was very obvious police officers at times too.
And when you say people, is there shooting at each other or at random people driving by?
No, last year we had that. It did not appear, or at least I'm not aware of anything this year of people shooting back and forth at each other. And I think that's because the police presence was so large. We were able to cut off vehicular traffic into this large area very quickly, maintain that. I think that made a difference.
So random victims?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had MPD, you said State Patrol,
State Patrol,
Park Police, any other agencies?
University of Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.